I think it is such a cliche, but it is so true that sometimes the best things to bring to market are the things that annoy you the most. And I never thought about how much nails annoyed me, but it did. If anyone listening ever wants to start a business or think of a product to bring to market, just look around and look at your day-to-day. Like, what bothers you? Find a way to break it and fix it.
We also are trying to figure out how to be more top of mind always. So one thing we've done, and this is the prototype, but it's the instructions are on one side, but the other side is actually a calendar that has the days of the week and the number. I swear my husband made me order another order just so that he could have one too.
Welcome to the DTC Insider podcast, where online business owners come to find actionable tips and tactics to grow their businesses. Now, here's your host, Brian Roisentul.
Hey, welcome to another episode. I'm Brian Roisentul, your host, and today I'm super excited to interview the founders, two actually of them, because there are three of them, of a beautiful brand. It's called Livi Beauty, and today I'm joined by Sarah and Pauline. Thank you both for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, my pleasure. So could you please tell the audience what Livi Beauty is about before introducing yourselves?
You have this, Pauline.
Livi Beauty is an at-home gel manicure system that consists of what we call semi-cured gel, which means that the application actually gets put under a UV light in the factory. So when you get it in your home and you want to apply it, it applies like a sticker onto your nails. And then you flash cure the last 40% of it to create the, regular gel manicure look that everybody understands and knows from a salon. That just makes it mess-free. It makes it much easier. There's no polish. There's no skills required. We like to say, if you can put a Band-Aid on, you can put Livi Beauty's nail sticker on. And you can do it at home in about 15 minutes and have salon quality nails in 10, 14 days.
Okay, so you can save money, the trip to the salon, the waiting, time in the salon.
And I often forget to add, which is actually one of our key features, it's also much better for your nails because you're not under the UV light for as long as you are in the salon. The at-home UV light is also a lot less strong. So it's 6 watts instead of 60 watts. And the way you take it off is you remove it with a nourishing cuticle oil. So there's no damage to your nails, non-toxic, it's vegan. It's free of all the, 16 toxic chemicals.
So it's like a kit, right? People receive at home. So it's not only like the nails or stickers for the nails. I don't know the technical term, but it's like the UV.
Yeah, you get everything. You get the lamp, you get tools, you get a removal oil. It all comes in a very nice bag. So you can toss it all in and take it on the go.
Amazing. And how did it all start? May I ask?
I grew up in the Netherlands, and this has actually been popular in the Netherlands for a few years now. There's a couple of bigger brands out there. And, my mom visits a few times a year and would put it in her suitcase and take it to the US and I would use it. But I wasn't that entrepreneurial from the get-go. So I would just do it and gate kept it from all of my friends until I was on a trip with Emily and Sarah. And I decided to do my nails because we were going out that night. And Emily and Sarah looked over and said, "What are you doing with your nails over there?" And I said, "Oh, they're these nail stickers, they're big in Holland." And both of them could not believe that I'd been sitting on this and gatekeeping it. We have 6 kids under 6 between the 3 of us, and we never have time for the salon. If anyone's watching this on video, I talk with my hands all the time. I feel more confident if my nails are done. I just feel better about myself. But I didn't have time to go to the nail salon for an hour, hour and a half, every other week. So that sort of was the start of where we said, oh, maybe we could bring it to the US. Okay, let's just have a weekly call and we'll see how this snowballs. And then 9 months later, we said, okay, let's just all quit our jobs and actually launch this as a business because we think that we really have something here that could help, all of our friends and then some, like any woman or man for that matter in America who wants to have their nails done, but doesn't want to go to the salon, doesn't want to spend the money on the salon, doesn't want to deal with the removal. Right. Let's just see if we can, make their lives a little bit better.
Yeah. First off, I love the Netherlands. I mean, I don't know if it's fair to say because I've been only to Amsterdam, but it was enough for me twice to say that it's beautiful. I don't know about the rest, but I've been told great
even
stuff.
Even better outside Amsterdam.
Yeah, I figured. Where are you from in the Netherlands? Is it Amsterdam or?
No, I'm from outside. It's a city called Leiden, which is a big college town, but everything's close.
What I can tell is that I love learning languages, right? My native language is Spanish. I'm from Argentina, right? And I've been to Netherlands, so every time I go to a new country, even Thailand, right? I try to learn, even if it's a lousy pronunciation, try to connect, with people with local people, right? And it was impossible for me to speak that language.
It's a tricky one. Yeah.
I was in the cab and I was trying to tell them where to go to my hotel, and it was like, what the hell? Like, show me the paper. Where is it? Like, show me the phone, whatever. It's like something strat, but I don't know. So it was like super frustrating. It's super tough. Yeah.
It is. It's a really difficult language.
Okay. So if I got it right, you've been keeping it to yourself, of course, without any intention, right? And then in this trip with Sarah and Emily, they said, "Oh, let's go for it." What happened then? How did you go? Because in the audience we have many experienced fellow founders, but many people starting out, or many people looking to start a company. So they might say, yeah, right, I see this product I love abroad, or I see a local product that I think could be improved. How do I go from the idea to the development?
Yeah, I think you just have to be very brazen. Like I said, I wasn't very entrepreneurial at heart to begin with. And so I thought, how are we ever going to do this? And then I literally just started with a Google search. And I found, I looked at all of the import-export logs of the Netherlands to figure out, okay, where do these products come from? And we contacted probably 50, 60 different factories overseas between Japan, Korea, and China, and worked more closely with probably 15 or 20 of them to test their product and then say, okay, we think we can make some improvements. Do you agree? And some factories are really unwilling to work with you. Fine. Then we move on to one that will work with us. We tapped a lot into our sort of friends and family network. I think Emily had a cousin who was a chemist who helped us understand, like, what are these actual ingredients?
Yeah.
Which ones are necessary and which ones can we sort of get rid of to make it better for you and less toxic. And, not to get too much in the weeds, we cared a lot about sort of the thickness of the stickers. There are other brands out there that create nail stickers. Not all of them can be cured. That's super important to us, because if they're just a sticker, it ends up looking often like a sticker versus like a regular gel polish that we want it to mimic. And the thickness, if they're too thick, then it kind of looks wonky. You have a really thick layer of nail polish. And so I went around with my little tool. I'm already blanking on what it was called, but it, measures to the decimal millimeter how thick something is. And we worked to make them thinner than the average kind of nail sticker that you could get in the Netherlands even. And over time, like, we reduced it to create a really good working relationship with 2 factories that, we continue to work with pretty closely to make sure that the packaging works. And we're actually currently in the process of looking, can we make the packaging a little bit more like environmentally friendly and user friendly? And are there ways to improve on lowering our shipping weight a little bit, but ensuring that the nails are really safeguarded in the pouch they come in, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just sort of like start with a Google search and, ask for a lot, and you'll find someone who can work with you and can give you what you want and need.
So we'll get to the next part of that story in a minute. I would love to know more about, how to the go-to-market strategy, product market fit. But before that, you, Pauline, are the operations person, right? And you sort of handle the marketing, right? The marketing brain, right? Amazing. So did that happen, let's say simply, or it was like naturally? That was the word I was looking for, naturally? Or did you guys, spend quite a while trying to figure it out who should be doing, each task?
I would say it happened very organically. We've all had careers for 15 plus years before starting this. And we've been best friends for 8. So we know each other maybe too well. But marketing for me was very clear. It's what I was doing for several years before at both fashion, luxury, and DTC brands. Pauline is, I call her type A++. and incredibly organized and not shy, which was great for meeting new factories, building those relationships. She has a lot of close friends now that she's never met in person, but we hope to change that soon. And then Emily, our third co-founder, has started 2 companies before. So she brings a lot of the knowledge and connections of what it takes to get something from zero to wherever we end up.
Here's the brutal truth. Right now, you're probably paying tariff on every single item in your warehouse before you even made the sale, right? That means your cash is just sitting there, trapped in inventory that might not even sell. Not exactly a recipe for success, right? But what if I told you that there's a smarter way? With Portless, you only pay tariff when an order ships after you've been paid by your customers. That means free up more working capital instantly, turn inventory into cash faster than ever before, and completely eliminate the risk of paying tariff on unsold stock. Here's how it works. Portless helps you ship directly from China to your customers' doorsteps in just 5 to 8 days. Yes, just like Shein does it. You get access to your inventory days after manufacturing, keep less stock on hand, and only pay duties on what actually sells. No more guessing games, no more cash flow nightmares, just smarter, faster scaling. Ready to turn tariffs from a liability into an advantage? Schedule a free strategy call today and keep more working capital in your business. Head on over to portless.com and tell them the DTC Insider sent you. That's amazing. You started this a few months ago now, so of course you're still figuring things out. Why not? Because even more established brands are figuring things out because let's face it, we are living in a really dynamic environment, pre-COVID, after COVID, and now you name it. It's technically speaking, economically speaking, everything is changing so fast. AI, why not, right? It's changing the world as we know in many ways. So what was next? Now going back to the story, you developed the product, you had the product in your hands. What was next? What was the go-to-market strategy? Who was your ideal target audience?
Yeah. So I think we were pretty intentional about who we thought our customer would be. First and foremost, the 3 of us are all working moms with young kids. So that's the most natural fit, that you don't have the time. When you have the time, you don't want to spend it alone at a nail salon. And you may not have the time between the hours of 9 to 5 when they're open. So that was pretty easy. We did a lot of focus groups and just getting the product in people's hands. I had a summer experience where I was at my parents' mountain house and I posted on the community Facebook group that I was offering free manicures. And a lot of them thought that I was a on-the-go manicurist and tipped me, paid me in cash, asked me if I could come back next week. So it was a little bit of trial and error too, but I would say working moms for the convenience, stay-at-home moms, because if your job is to take care of your kids, that means you're paying a babysitter plus the cost of the nail salon to leave, when you'd probably rather be doing something with a friend or working out or connecting. So that would be the second. And then Pauline hit on this, that it's non-damaging, and I don't know how familiar you are with the nail salon cycle, but you can get really stuck in it because once you have it on, they have to take it off with drills and acetone, and then you can't not have it on if you want to look presentable. So that piece of our product, where it is non-damaging and you're actually protecting your nails and putting cuticle oil that's nourishing on to remove it, has been another group, I would say, of non-toxic, health forward thinkers.
Okay, yeah.
If I can add, right, we did a big survey before we launched too, and we had this feeling in our belly as 3 moms with a lot going on that people really don't like the nail salon, but it's this myth that has started that, some you time, take time away, relax. And there are 15 things I'd rather be doing than going to the nail salon. But it's this myth that's been perpetuated that we all love going to the nail salon and it's us time. And when we did this survey, we found that, almost 80% of women we asked did not like going to the nail salon and
wow,
they didn't have
that's
to go.
powerful.
but 87% of women, so almost 90%, wanted to get their nails done because it does add this level of sort of confidence for a lot of women, because, you know, it takes a lot of time to do your hair or do your makeup, but at least if your nails are done, you get 2 weeks of feeling a little bit more polished. And Sarah, I don't know if you remember the quote specifically, but we at some point got early on the most sweet email written in from someone we didn't know who was a physician, who said something along the lines of like, you have made a tired mom physician feel like a little piece of herself back because I look down and my nails are done. And that's why we do it, right? Like we ultimately want to give women this feeling back of like, you actually feel better about yourself, but the me time now can be have a glass of wine, read a book, go for a walk with a friend, have a coffee, not sit there with this anxiety, dreadful feeling of like, okay, I have 1,000 things to do and how long is this going to take? And my nails still need to dry. And
Makes sense. And so far, what have you learned in these 6 months since you launched about the, product market fit? What was the, customers, reaction to this? How are you incorporating their feedback or gathering the feedback as well? And one last question is like, did any piece of feedback surprise you, like for better or for worse? But was it something like unexpected?
Yeah. Well, I can start with what we've learned about the customer. And we are primarily an online brand. We also sell on Amazon.
Right.
But we've done a ton of in-person activations, whether it's at a boutique or going back to the Tupperware party style at someone's house. We just did one at a fitness studio. And I think across all of those moments where we've gotten in front of our customer, they've consistently said, oh, now I get it. Even if they had seen our product a ton on video, there's something about just putting it on your fingers and seeing, one, how easy it is, and then two, how it truly feels like a gel manicure where your nails are harder. And we've struggled a lot with that. Like, it's a sticker, but it's a nice sticker. And what do we call that? That people will understand how easy it is, but also that it becomes a salon quality gel manicure.
Okay. Do you think that you are in some way empowering women through your product, through this experience, because they don't need to pretend they like what they don't like, or they are not forced to do in something they don't like and gain their time back?
100%. That's been one of our best emotional hooks, is just like, who started this lie? Self-care, maybe it's a massage, but nail salon is not self-care for most people. But also, we're selling manicures, so we have some fun with it too. I particularly enjoy riffing on my husband, so I do a lot of me talking about, hey, hun, do I like the nail salon? And then him responding like that, of course I love it. It's a relaxing time for me to have some time to myself.
You do that. You record that content. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
And that's amazing. I mean, it's something that we push or we encourage friends to do here on the podcast. And we've been chatting with many living proof of that, many founders that do what it's called founder-led content or founder-generated content, because it's really important, especially for brands starting out, but not only for brands starting out. I know some nine-figure brand founders that go on camera and speak. Of course, it's not mandatory at all, but if you are proud of what you do, if you feel that you're benefiting your customers with your solution, then why not screaming it out loud everywhere you can, right?
Totally. Yeah. And I wouldn't say that we led with that out of the gates. We definitely tried to go the route of getting other content creators to make content for us. We're both, all three of us are very specific about what we like and what we think will work. And we've just found that from a cost and time and speed perspective, we can churn through a ton more amongst the three of us than we can if we're asking someone else to do it.
I think what we discuss with brands here, and we see at the agency as well with the clients we work with, is that it's both, right? Of course, there are good creators, bad creators, good content, bad content. Sometimes what you think will work really well doesn't work, and the other way around. So I think the best thing is to test and different things and see what work, and keep both, other people's videos and content is really powerful because people are hearing it from somebody else. If they hear it from you, they can get probably more the authority, the education, but probably not the social proof because it's you talking about you, right? So I think there's a healthy mix to use
Yeah,
both of them.
I think to that too, right? Like you kind of get what you pay for, by which I mean we found that, and we've never outright paid anyone to make content for us because we don't have the funds for that, frankly.
Right.
But we've tried, right, to gift someone who we thought could be good again, and it just doesn't work, and we end up not using it because you need that authenticity, which, yes, like obviously that comes from us because we love the brand. And to your point, right, like we want to shout it from the rooftops. So that tends to work. And then what works really well is people who find us, however they do, and then contact us and say, wow, I love your brand. This has changed my life. And either whether that's a written testimonial or they're willing to hop on and video themselves talking about
Oh,
a
that's
product.
amazing.
That, we got Sarah did this great job. She's a big podcast listener of a particular podcast and ended up connecting with one of the podcasters, and she got a kit and she loved it so much that she talked about it organically. We didn't ask for anything, and it's a pretty popular podcast, and these orders started streaming in, and we said, wait, what happened? Like we didn't do anything. And we realized that she had just given us a shout out on the podcast because she said, I have to share this with my audience. This is the biggest life hack I have come across. And I think audiences and customers can feel that, right? Like you can sense if someone's talking about it because they're getting paid or they've got some free stuff, or they found a product they genuinely like and from the kindness of their own heart want to share that with the people in their community. So I think you need both, but we've definitely learned that it is not worth chasing anyone that wouldn't talk about it with that sort of authentic excitement.
Of course, I mean that's valid 100%. Like if the content doesn't sound legit, it's not going to sell 100%. But as you said, you're solving a real problem for many women or for all women who go through this and go to the salon. So I think that it's an easy win for them, and if they test it out, they can actually speak very highly about it in a genuine way. So I think it's like the saying goes, it's like dating. The fact that you had a bad experience doesn't prevent you from dating again. So it's like, okay, you met some creators that didn't do their job right or as you wanted them to do, but then you can find some amazing creators who can actually give you a genuine response. And what you're doing with your customers is great. Some brands I met do exactly this. They encourage their clients to actually, leave them a video in a genuine video, and that works very well. The thing is that what they find over time is that it doesn't scale a lot because while it's a genuine video, they are not creators. So probably everything else is not there. So lighting is not good. The speech is like it's super vague. The cameras. So there are many things about that. Yeah, I can go on, but I think a healthy mix. It's important for people to get different aspects and education, social proof, and I don't know if you know this supplement brand called Upbeat. They are a 9-figure brand in the US. Founders have built a beautiful e-commerce community and a very well-known podcast. I encourage you and the audience to follow them. It's called Chew on This. They do after parties at the main DTC events. Right now, they're going to do an after party at the Commerce Roundtable in Miami. They did something at Shop Talk. They do everything, and they have their own podcast as well. And they are the founders of this company. And basically, what they say is, oh, sorry, I lost it. What we were talking about. I wanted to say something they do, but I lost it. So,
Creators,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, so what I wanted to say, is that it's not even Friday and I lost it. So is that it's not only knowing what to say, is how your customers say it, right? So they discovered that their customers were talking about FUPA,
yeah.
yeah,
we know.
right. Okay. So maybe it's fine. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah.
Fun over the pants, isn't that what?
Yeah, exactly. So they had never used that term. And when they noticed in their community, they had a Facebook group with over, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of members to this day in 2025, the Facebook group still works for them and other brands. They figured that they were referring to that term very often. So they started testing that in their marketing. And for a time, it was one of the best performing ads. And I know this because not only interviewed them on the podcast, but they built in public. So they are great people to follow: Ronak Shah, Nashma Wani, Ankit Patel, all three of them. But it's basically that. It's not only what you can say, but you're not going to say things the way they will say.
Totally.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, that was long. I know, but I did this. Okay. So is there anything that surprised you based on, I don't know, any reactions from customers, any feedback, any request about your product? I wish this product had this. I don't know.
I was surprised. We were on Good Morning America in January, which was obviously a huge deal for our brand. It drove a ton of sales. It really kind of put us on the map. But Good Morning America has a much older audience. And what Sarah talked about earlier, right? We really thought it was people like us, like maybe 25 to 45, maybe moms, or at least working women, if not a mom. And it turns out that the sort of 50, 60 plus community absolutely loves this product. And it's funny because I don't think I authentically talk to that audience, right? Because I haven't lived as long, and a lot of them are grandmothers by now, if they ever had kids. And we've gotten really great. They love the product. They come back. They're very vocal. You mentioned Facebook groups earlier. They are very vocal, commenting and writing in messages. And it's a pretty kind of core audience for us today. And I never thought back in September that, we would be selling to our moms almost as much, if not almost more, than we would be selling to our friends, which is a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I think now that it's happened, hindsight's always 2020, but it makes sense that the generation above us grew up in a time and worked in a time that was much more formal, and they were expected to look put together. And to your point, I think that's actually the group that feels like we're exposing the myth more than our age group of joining the nail salon. So that has really touched them. And I think even the generation below us, they're so much more casual. They don't feel the need to have their nails done at every moment in the same way to look polished or presentable. So that has been really surprising. I would say the other piece that has shocked me is I always joke that we should have started this in COVID. It would have been perfect. But the social aspect of nails has been so interesting to watch evolve. So all of our products are named in a way that they should spark some kind of conversation. And I feel like there's a known thing among women where often a conversation starter is like, well, what color are you wearing on your nails? Because there's a few popular ones that everyone knows. So our core collection is named for references to the 90s and 2000s. We have Not a Regular Mom, which is from Mean Girls. I'm wearing That's a Secret I'll Never Tell, which is from Gossip Girl. But even if you don't know it, it still could spark an interesting story or something that you know. And I think nail salons in general, if you look at their design, you're side by side. It's not meant for conversation or connecting. And in a time when our time is so limited, the idea that nails can be both social and helpful to your appearance has been really cool.
Amazing. So where are you selling your products right now? You mentioned Amazon. Are there any other channels that you are pushing these days to sell your products online?
Online and Amazon are two primary channels right now. And then we are doing paid spend on Meta, and we direct most of that to our online store.
How's that working for you?
Better as of late. So we just started maybe 6 weeks ago. And the first few weeks were pretty brutal. I would say we were not feeling optimistic. But we've gotten into more of a groove and more of a structured testing process. We've learned that you have to be patient and let it play out. And we are not, as we mentioned, we don't have any funding right now. So we're being very intentional about how quickly we spend the money.
Yeah, so it's not easy to be patient when you're spending your own money, right? Especially if you didn't. So I run an agency. I've been doing that since 2013. So I could say it's not fair for me to say that it's easy because even though I treat that money as if it was my own, it's not. So whenever we run our own campaigns to promote something, it feels different. It's like, oh, they spent $100 and didn't produce results. As with clients, we said, hey, we spent 10K. Don't worry. And it's like, what? $100 and I'm already burnt out. So yeah, I know but yeah, Meta, you need to give it time, of course, especially if you're starting out on Meta. Even if you have a lot of experience on Meta, the algorithm like Meta doesn't know the brand until it does. And yeah, it's time to figure things out. So the important thing I would say is with the right structure to avoid touching it every single day, so it's like, yeah, things have
That is
to.
like, I mean, I'm sure every founder says that, they are building their business in one of the most interesting and dynamically changing times. But I do think that from everyone we've talked to, especially about Meta, right now, it's such an interesting time to be on Meta because it goes against everything that you intellectually think should be right. So even if I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, we should be selling these nails to 35-year-old women. There's no real way. I mean, there is a way, but it doesn't work, right? For me to tell Meta that you're really just giving your content and a blank check basically to Meta. And you say, Godspeed. I hope you figure this out for me. And that is such a crazy component.
Yeah.
I think you have to just churn out so much content to figure out what hits and what the algorithm can learn from it. And Sarah is our big face now of the brand because she just churns out videos left and right every day, which is great. And like, it's kind of what you need to do. And I never thought a year ago that I would be much more in the content creation business almost than I would be in the nail production business, right?
Yeah.
Well,
It's a very different ballgame.
It's so true. I actually texted one of my former bosses who's the creative officer at Brent, and I was like, who would have thought I'm a creative content machine right now? And that's what I spend half my day doing every day.
well, one thing that I wanted to say in that line for you not to feel bad because you are on the right track. Like, not said by me, but the amazing people such as you two that I interview here in the pod and chat every single day. There's one other, another founder, 8-figure founder. He's probably 24 years old. He built a brand called Frostbody, and they do like, I don't know, $60 million or something like that. And the guy said, as the CEO of the company and as the founder, I would never thought that my biggest value task could be creating TikToks. But every day I wake up asking myself, what's the highest lever task I can do today? And it's creating TikToks. So that's what I will do for the rest of the day. So he's the face of the brand and he spends every single day creating TikToks. Is that the only way to grow a brand? No. But is it wrong? No. These days, founders, CEOs, etc., they need to be doing that because before it was going on, as you said, Good Morning America, but it was the only chance or one of the only chances, newspapers, magazines. Now you can spread the word really easily and people love that. So why not doing that, right? And about Meta, I don't want to go into technicalities, but I will give you context to what you're seeing. Meta right now, of course, it changed a lot and they want to see options from advertisers. In fact, they said publicly that they will prioritize advertisers that provide the algorithm with more options. Options equals ads. So if you're creating a campaign with 5 ads and other advertisers in your category are creating 50 ads in that campaign, well, probably they are going to outbid you. And the fact that you don't need to provide Meta with the audience, of course, it comes from many technical reasons, but the big 3 is that Meta has been working heavily on improving their AI systems. And there are 3 of them. GEM, which is like the giant, the super brain. We have Lattice, that is the giant library, and we have Andromeda. This is like new things that they've been working on the last few years, but tweaking recently as well. So basically, before they used to have like many small libraries of content, like by topic. Now they have one big library and it connects the dots really easily and find patterns. That's why it knows everything about us and can connect the dots really easily. So when you tell Meta, hey, these are my ads, I want to get sales, this is my budget, that's all it needs. And of course, with the signals of the pixel, etc. You don't need to do anything else.
Although options equals more ads equals more dollars. So
yes and no. Yes and no. There are ways. I mean, these days, for example,
you can set it at the top funnel, but like as a smaller brand, it's harder to win in that way because you only have so many dollars to really get a read on things.
Of course. But these days, the barrier to create, let's say, I don't know, content, video content. Of course, as you said, you are doing that, and that's as many brands, again, 9-figure brands, 8-figure brands doing that as well. So that's amazing. Static ads, believe me, we are doing so many good ads, amazing ads with AI that if you asked me 6 months ago, I would have said no, impossible. But these days, even with the paid plan of ChatGPT or with a free one, but we do the paid, you can, if with the right inputs, you can generate like super real stuff with the correct fonts on brand. It's amazing. It's generating ads for Meta these days. The barrier became lower.
You have in the AI field, which is actually kind of interesting, is as good as AI has gotten, one thing they're still very not good at is actually hands. So generating
a lot of 8-finger hands.
Oh,
we do. Believe me, we are not anti-AI. We leverage it quite a bit for things that aren't as close up on the fingers.
It doesn't generate the hands very well. I haven't tested that.
No, it's interesting.
So we should actually do B-roll on it, Pauline. It's pretty hilarious. Like we've started prompting it, like only 5 fingers on each hand, like.
And more from like a user or customer perspective, it's always been very important to us that you get to see the actual nail color on an actual hand and ideally different skin tones of hands, because it is such everybody sees it, right? And you can't really, it's hard to try on a nail color. It's not a t-shirt, right? Once it's on, you kind of don't want to take it off. So we do invest quite a bit in actual photography still for those 2 reasons. One, AI is just not as good as making hands. And then B, like it's just sort of important to us that when you buy something from our website, you get to see pictures that really showcase the right color on a real hand.
It doesn't work. It's fine. The important thing is that you test it. So yeah, I haven't tested that, but hey, it's a challenge. I'll test it out. And if I
let
find
us know if you crack it.
So I don't know if you use LinkedIn, but there are many people right now, like way too many people saying comment X and I will send you the link to whatever resource I created. So many of them are doing this with AI static ads, and one of them was very interesting and I had never thought of that. It's something technical, but there's a way you can actually generate the input with code, like programming language, and not with words. So if you want to create, for example, us before them, or let's say left and right image with the benefits or a close-up, or there's a specific JSON, which is a format for programming, so you can input that JSON, that coding, and it's very easy for everyone to understand because it's like title, and you input the title, left side, benefits, whatever. So it gives the guidelines very clearly to let's say ChatGPT in this case, or whatever tool you use, instead of word by word. But yeah, maybe that way works, maybe it doesn't. Who knows?
Yeah, give it a try.
Maybe in the future. Yeah, I was wondering, one more thing I wanted to address before we go is retention, customer retention. I know it's been only 6 months. So of course, if there's a lot of things to learn about acquisition, of course, I guess that it's going to be a lot of things to learn about retention because it's been only a few months since you launched. Have you been paying attention to retention? Have you been measuring the returning customer rate? How you make them come back? Are you intentional with that? What do you do?
Yes, 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 yes. So retention is near and dear to me. I was running retention at a pretty big D2C footwear company before we launched this. So I used to spend all day, every day, just thinking about how to bring a customer back. Obviously, yes, we are still early, but we track it very closely. We also have a subscription side of our business where if you want to get your manicures monthly. So that's kind of locked in retention, which numbers wise, I love. Operationally, it's been a little trickier as we stock out of colors and get new ones in. But the short answer is yes. How are we driving it? Like we have email flows, we have text flows, we reach out directly. Even when we send your order, your first order, you get a code for a gift for your next one. We also are trying to figure out how to be more top of mind always. So one thing we've done, and this is the prototype, but it's the instructions are on one side, but the other side is actually a calendar that has the days of the week and the number. I swear my husband made me order another order just so that he could have one too. But this is the kind of thing that says nail your day. It has a fun quote. And something you're picking up. I'm picking it up all the time to reference days and dates. What
That's
else,
amazing.
Pauline? I feel
Are
like,
you?
oh, no, one of the other things it's new, so it's hard to say for certain, but we've started something we're calling Livi Party in a Box,
Okay.
where people have joked that we're starting an MLM. We are not. These are offers for some of our super users, people that really love us, where we'll send them a box with an extra kit or two and several free manicures so that they can share it with their friends. It's still a hypothesis right now, but our thought is that if the first time you use this product, you're using it with someone who loves it and they can show you more of the tips and tricks, you're much more likely to get it right the first time and then come back for more.
That's smart. Yeah.
Yeah. And the
Please
other
no
thing that
element no. But yeah.
And then what's interesting and kind of makes sense when you think about it is, people will give us a try because they are frustrated with their existing nail solution, right? So a lot of people come back because they like it. But a lot of people that come back, the majority of the people that come back become a super user that just fully switches their routine to Livi, which means that they're not just trying us like once, twice, maybe 3 times. No, they come back like every month to get more nails because there's a small component of women that will just do their nails for like an event. Sure, maybe they come back once a quarter because they have a party or they have,
Right.
somewhere to have their nails put on. But most women that come back do so like every week they have their Livi manicure done. And that's fun for us to see, obviously, but it's also great from a retention. And Sarah does a phenomenal job of sending emails and staying in touch with people and giving them content that's interesting and engaging and reminding them to come back. And I think, because it's also on your hands, it's very
Right.
easy to remind yourself that you need another.
Right. Do you offer subscriptions or are you planning on doing that?
Yeah, we're about 20% people are on subscriptions. Majority we offer 2, 4, or 6 a month. Most people are on 2 or 4 a month because it lasts 10 to 14 days easily. So
Amazing. Great. Well, I think that's it for on my end. Is there anything else that I didn't ask you that you would like to mention?
No, the only thing, so like I said in the beginning, that I didn't think of myself as particularly entrepreneurial, and especially Emily, our co-founder who isn't here, is very entrepreneurial, is always looking for what she could do, right, that would make a good business. And I think it is such a cliche, but it is so true that sometimes the best things to bring to market are the things that annoy you the most. And I never thought about how much nails annoyed me, but it did. And I sort of wasn't aware that there would be a better solution until I learned about this company in the Netherlands. And it's, if anyone listening ever wants to start a business or think of a product to bring to market, just look around and look at your day to day and like what bothers you, even if it bothers you a little bit and you're so used to it and you think that it's just the way that it should go.
Yeah.
Find a way to break it and Fix it.
the end, entrepreneurs are problem solvers, right? They want to improve what's not right for them, right? So that's amazing. So before you go, I wanted to ask you something that I like asking guests that come on the show, which is if, of course, if you have a book that you love that you would like to recommend to the audience. We publish the books on the website every single year. We put together a list. So is there any book that you love that you would like to recommend to the audience?
Can I do two?
Yes. Sure.
Great. Okay, so one is my favorite business book. I make everyone who's ever worked for me read this, and it's called Hooked. And it's all about how you drive behaviors that are circular and get people coming back. We talked a lot about Meta. It's actually the best example of a implicit trigger where if you're bored, you open up Instagram rather than like you see a commercial or something outside that makes you then think about the brand. It's awesome.
Amazing. Hooked,
and then my favorite life book is a children's book. It's called The Fox, the Mole, and the Boy. I might be getting the Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And it parades as a children's book, but it's really just simple stories about what really matters in life. It teaches courage, compassion, kindness, all through these 4 characters. So yeah, that one stays at the bedside table.
I have children myself, so I'll look it up.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's one of those ones that you read to your kids and you think to yourself, I needed this.
Oh, amazing. So thank you again for coming on the podcast. I had a blast. I think it was a very interesting conversation, and I hope it inspired a lot of people to start their business or to continue their journey. And if they had this idea in their mind that they were wondering, why don't I start this business? And they were probably saying, no, I don't start it because I don't know anything about this. I don't know where to start. Probably you gave them the extra spark to do that. So thank you for that. And please tell the audience where they can go to learn more about you and Livi Beauty.
Yeah, of course.
First, give you my favorite quote, which you just reminded me of. I always love, my husband always says this, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Because you don't know where to start. Just take the first step.
Exactly.
Anyways, go to www.livibeauty.com, and on any social media, you can check us out at Mani, MANI, by BY, Livi, LIVI, Mani by Livi.
Pauline, Sarah, thanks a lot for being here in the podcast.
Thanks. This was awesome.
This episode was brought to you by BSR Digital. We help DTC brands grow through paid ads and email marketing campaigns. If you'd like us to help your business grow, head on over to bsrdigital.com and schedule a call with us.